You're watching the Liquid Lunch pregame show on Facebook, and I'm Frank Moreno. John Tabacco will rejoin us momentarily. A ton of interesting news, and by the way, we have an action-packed show from 1 to 2, so I think you're going to be able to continue watching it on Facebook, but you're also going to want to make sure to watch it on television on Newsmax TV. It's available in most cable systems, or if you don't have cable or DirecTV, you can watch it online at newsmaxtv.com. Now, Jessica, you're not putting me on that TikTok, are you? Don't put me on TikTok. So, Jessica, and people on the Facebook community can weigh in on this if they want. Jessica has decided to put us on TikTok, which is essentially run by the Chinese government. So all of our data, all of our faces, all of our criticisms of China and their handling of the coronavirus and John's bizarre theories about how they created this in order to tank not only their own economy, but America's economy, that all goes directly to China. So thanks to TikTok. Now, on the 1 to 2 version of Liquid Lunch, we have a couple of my favorites on today's show. First of all, we have Chris Markowski. He's going to be here on a day when the stock market has dipped 1,800 points. I can't think of a better person to talk to than Chris Markowski. Speaking of Wall Street Wizards, Hillary Kramer, she's going to be here as well. Tell you how you can make some money, maybe by buying the dips. Unfortunately, last time we had her on the show, we misspelled her first name. We spelled it with 2 L's instead of 1. We're hoping today that we can do better. So tune in next hour to see if we are, in fact, able to do better. And the one and only Dr. Fernando Uribe, who we like a lot, not only for his political insight and for his passionate opinions, but because he always gets here early. He gets here earlier than a lot of the guests, so it gives plenty of time to get made up, gives plenty of time to have audio done. So we like Dr. Fernando Uribe for those reasons. And making her Liquid Lunch debut, we're going to talk with Anna Prouse. She was put in charge of a rebellious section of Iraq by General David Petraeus, and she's going to tell a fascinating story about how she actually had her life saved by, of all people, General Soleimani. You remember General Soleimani, the head of the Quds forces in Iran, who we just assassinated? He actually saved Anna Prouse's life. She'll tell you about it coming up next hour, so that's definitely going to be something you want to tune into. Now, in the meantime, let me tell you what's happening in the news. Breaking just within the last couple of minutes, Columbia University has it's an Ivy League school here in New York City. They've canceled all classes today. They've canceled all classes tomorrow, and they're not going to resume classes after that in a classroom. All classes will be taught remotely in Columbia University for the rest of the semester. Now, they're not the only ones in the Ivy League doing that. Princeton University is also putting all their lectures online in response to the coronavirus. So all their seminars are going to be held virtually. Scarsdale, New York, which is just a stone's throw from where we are right now, they are closing their public schools for the week after a teacher has tested positive for the coronavirus. Now, in the political community, I mentioned Iran earlier, 11% of the Iranian parliament evidently has the coronavirus right now. But in the political community now, because somebody at CPAC came down with coronavirus, they're going to, they have several of the people that interacted with this CPAC person, they are self-quarantining. That includes Congressman Paul Gosar and Senator Ted Cruz. Senator Ted Cruz says he feels fine, but that is something that is important to watch. We see Rich Valdez, our friend Rich Valdez, commenting, who usually is supposed to be on Mondays, but I don't see him here today. He said, crack, question mark. Yeah, crack is the answer to, you got to check this book out. I'm looking forward to reading it. Dr. Carter Stout, his book, Lost in Ghost Town, all about his memoir of addiction and redemption. So those of you that are in New York City, he's going to be at the Strand Bookstore today, which is a great place to hang out, a great place to buy books. And tonight, it'll be a great place to hear Dr. Stout talk about his memoir. Now, We can't forget that tomorrow is Super Tuesday, too. A lot of states voting tomorrow, including Michigan. Very interesting to see what happens in Michigan here between Bernie Sanders and Joe Biden, because 4 years ago, Michigan was a state that Bernie was polling way behind in. It was never supposed to have a shot at winning. Then he came out of nowhere and won, beat Hillary Clinton in Michigan, and that kind of gave a shot in the arm to his campaign. Tomorrow, if he loses in Michigan, a state that this time around he's been heavily favored to win, I don't really see how Bernie comes back from that. I would think if Biden runs the table tomorrow, it's probably all over for Bernie. Now, again, kudos to our friends over at the DNC doing what they always do and doing their best to rig the process in favor of the outcome they'd like to see. Tulsi Gabbard, who is still running, she met the criteria for qualifying for the next debate on March 15th. And then on Friday, the DNC comes out and says, you know what? We're changing the criteria. Now Tulsi Gabbard is no longer eligible to participate. So leave it to the DNC to change the rules in the middle of the game. So now that debate on March 15th will just be Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders. So we'll see what happens. But a whole lot more to get to on the Liquid Lunch pregame show, including Anna Prouse, who I'm very much looking forward to talking with.
Tremendous, Frankie, thank you. I don't understand where all the left-wing women's groups are right now, screaming and yelling about a woman being disenfranchised from the race. We had all these other women in the race. They all dropped out. She didn't. She's still talking to people. She's an elected official. She's a military veteran. Why are the women's organizations? Where's Mika?
Well, you know, but
where's Mika with
no
the know
problem,
your value?
You know, I have no problem if those were the rules the whole time, if that was the debate criteria the whole time. Don't say this is the debate criteria and then when there's a candidate that you want to exclude meets your criteria, then all of a sudden say, oh, you know what, we're going to change the rules to exclude her.
I'm with
Have
you.
one consistent set of rules.
You. What if there was like a job posting, right? And they said, hey, everyone apply. Here's the job posting. And then a really great woman comes in and they say, oh, no, for you need 5 more years experience. If they change the rules on an interview, the Department of Labor would be out there, the American Civil Liberties Union would be out there.
And, you know, one other piece of news we're following, and it couldn't be a better time to talk with Anna Prouse because she's a real expert in what's happening in the Middle East. Unfortunately, 2 U.S. troops have been killed in an anti-ISIS mission in northern Iraq. Now, this is a region that Anna Prouse is very familiar with, and I look forward to hearing what she has to say about it. But one item I want to bring to your attention, John, is from last night's Axios show on HBO. Donald Trump Jr. has actually challenged, of all people, Hunter Biden to a debate. This is Don Jr. last night. Be curious about your response to this comment, John.
Hunter Biden, his father becomes VP, all of a sudden he goes over to the Ukraine, and he's making 83 grand a month. So, you know, the media likes to do this sort of false equivalence. You're doing this, you're doing that. We stopped doing any new international business deals when my father won the presidency. So, you know what would be great? I'll let you host it. You moderate a debate between Hunter Biden and myself. Come on. Let's do it. No, seriously. We can go full transparency. We show everything, and we can talk about all of the places where I'm supposedly grifting, but Hunter Biden isn't.
That probably wasn't the reaction they were expecting. Axios is, you know, that's like a wing of MSNBC over there, and the people were applauding for Donald Trump to debate Hunter Biden. Maybe that's a new thing. Maybe Tulsi Gabbard can get in the debate between the 2 sons. Well, maybe they'll let her in that one.
I'm not sure she's a mom yet, but...
No, I know. I'm saying maybe they'll let her debate the 2 sons.
It would be interesting.
You know, that might be interesting.
It would be interesting.
All right, let's take a quick break, Frank, and figure out what we're going to do here. We're going to rock out the 1 o'clock hour. And what do you got, Nico? Anything?
Well, let's chat with Anna Prouse. You know,
I was going to just split my 1 o'clock open in half and have Chris Markowski and.
Well, look, you can have the 1 o'clock hour. Don't cut it in half. I'd rather not see it come to harm.
No, no. Well, I'm going to lessen my time for my opening rant.
I see.
And I think being that the market is right on the, top of everything, we'll just have Chris Markowski on in one. And
All right, well, then let me play for you this. This is Hillary Clinton on one of the Sunday shows.
I saw this.
Yeah, this is her talking about, again, this woman cannot stop bashing Bernie Sanders. I mean, three, that's me holding the three fingers up. That's what three means. So Hillary Clinton was on one of the Sunday shows, I think this was on CNN, talking about how her challenges in unifying the Democratic Party. Have a watch at this.
I think Joe Biden will be able to do that better. Is Bernie Sanders more likely to be more cooperative this time around?
Well, I hope so, because his failure and the behavior of a lot of his top aides and certainly many of his supporters up to the convention, at the convention, and even up to Election Day was not helpful. I had thought we would unify. That's what we'd always done before, and that's what I expected. I certainly tried to do that when I ran against Barack Obama and worked very hard for him.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. I don't know, Frankie. If you ask me, she's on a mission right now to either be vice president or declare Joe Biden mentally unfit right after the convention and try to be the de facto nominee. And the interesting thing I heard her say there was she would expect they would unify, but what she didn't say is except if Bernie's the president, because she's basically said she doesn't want Bernie to be the president. So it's unity if it's the people she wants to unite with, not necessarily Bernie, I don't think. But we'll get into all that and more. We're going to run some commercials right now, because I know everyone tunes into Facebook to watch commercials, but we got some great products. And then we're going to come back with the big show at 1 right here on Facebook and also on Newsmax TV. We won't be on Facebook, right? We have to shut Facebook off. All right, so you got to go to newsmaxtv.com. If you want to watch, you can go to YouTube if you want to watch. And if you buy a television, go to Newsmax TV, fastest growing cable network in America. We'll be back in 10 minutes.